Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about flagships. Now, recently we had an event that CIG released where you can capture an Idris, and for the first time in game, the Idris has an interior so you can board the ship, and there's FPS gameplay on the inside of the ship. Now, that is kind of being signaled by CIG. They talked a little bit about it at CitizenCon that the Javelin and the Idris will be coming to players as soon as Squadron 42 comes out. And so that means these large ships that have been promised for a long time now are finally getting added to the game with their full functionality, because of course we've seen the Bengal flying around in the verse during Fleet Week. We've seen the Javelin. We have a Javelin tour, so parts of the Javelin's interior have been seen in game before for a few years now actually. And then of course the Idris with Xeno threat. So they've been flying around in the game for a while, but they haven't had their full interior and players haven't had access to them. So if you've purchased one of these ships, you personally can't fly yours, but that will be changing. So what does that mean for the game? That means that these massive ships that have a lot of fleet and org type functionality are finally getting added to the game. Now, a lot of the ships on this list are combat ships, but a flagship is more than just a combat ship. This is a ship that you can execute most of your forward operations from. So this is a ship that all the members of your org are going to be on, and you're going to be executing different missions from this ship. In larger star systems like Pyro, this might be like your interstellar forward operating base, okay? Your home away from home. This is the place where everyone in the org groups up on and does whatever mission they plan to do. Now, of course, the game is in development, so CIG needs to fill out some of the org gameplay that is, that the game kind of needs, better communications, more org tools to be able to, potentially have different permissions with different members with different roles in your org. So for instance, you might set someone up as the pilot, or you might set someone up as the the cargo manager. So these players will have different permissions on the ship. So in a case, if you're away, you can have someone else pilot the ship and have permissions to control the maintenance on the ship, the resource management system, and a cargo manager that has the permission to sell, buy and trade cargo on the ship. But there's some systems that I think that a good flagship needs to have, that kind of is why I selected some of the ships on this list that you're seeing in front of me. So there are some ships that I am excluding from this list, like the Retribution and the Bengal. Those ships are not available to players. Players cannot purchase or own those ships outright. Now, CIG has said that there might be one or two floating around in the game after release that we might be able to capture and use. But I'm not really, talking about gameplay designed around that, because that's not going to be typical. Most orgs aren't going to have access to a Retribution, but the largest player ownable ship that we do have access to on a more consistent basis is the Javelin. So that is kind of the high end of the spectrum here, and then on the lower end I have the Galaxy. So the kind of prerequisites that I think that a flagship needs is, of course, a hangar so you can land and take off from, so other members of your org can go out and do whatever missions that they have to do for the group. So a hangar is vital, and this hangar, of course, needs to be large enough to, at minimum, fit several snub fighters. And then, of course, the second thing that I would say a flagship needs is a med bay. Now, the Galaxy doesn't have a dedicated internal med bay, but it does have a pretty significant medical module. And this medical module allows the player to both maintain access to the hangar and its cargo. Okay, so of course the next thing that a flagship needs to have is a decent amount of cargo, not for cargo running or trading or hauling, but for carrying all of the equipment that the group of friends or the org needs to carry on whatever trip they're doing. And now that we have access to personal storage containers, the cargo on this ship will more likely have the personal cargo containers needed to have equipment for the org to, post up and run their missions. Of course, you're also going to need to have a vehicle. The medical module on the Galaxy does have an elevator. So I'm presuming that you're going to be able to put a cyclone on there. So it has the hangar, it has the cargo, it has the medical, and then you can put a vehicle on it. So those, I think, are the four main criteria that a flagship would need to have to be able to run through operations. So, of course, we'll start with Galaxy. The Galaxy has a captain's quarters, and it has individual crew quarters. On top of that, of course, like we talked about, it has the hangar, it has the cargo. If you put the medical module in there, you'll also have an elevator that you can have a vehicle on. Okay, it has a decent amount of guns and shields, and it's the smallest ship on this list. And I think that for a flagship, for a small or for a small group of friends, this ship does make sense because of its modularity, because of its versatility. Something like this is good for if you want a flagship and you don't entirely know what you're gonna do with your small org. Let's say you have an org, you have 3 or 4 friends in that org with you. That's kind of your group. You guys just hang out on Discord and you want to run missions. A ship like this is pretty good for its price, for its capability, for its versatility. I think for an org flagship of something like this makes a lot of sense. And I know a lot of people will look at a ship and compare something like maybe the Perseus. I think the Perseus is a really interesting ship, but again, you lack that medical module. So you're going to have to take a medical ship with you, and that kind of spreads out your team, your squad. So again, the Perseus is a really cool combat ship, but I think the Galaxy makes a better flagship. And then, of course, the primary flagship in the game right now, the Carrick. Most orgs run the Carrick as their flagship currently in the game right now. It is the largest ship that makes a lot of sense for the type of gameplay most orgs want to have. Of course, it has the hangar, it has the cargo pods, it has the garage at front, and it has the med bay inside to respawn at. Okay, it has a captain's quarters, it has a cartography deck, it has man turrets on it. Okay, it has a good fuel range. The Carrick is a very capable ship, and there's no surprise why it's currently the primary flagship of a lot of orgs. And you would say that, okay, the 890 jump has a lot of these features, but really we'll get to the 890 jump. It's also on this list, but I think that the Carrick makes a lot more sense because it's a little bit smaller and easier to manage. Now, the next ship we have on this list is the Carrick Killer. Okay, this was a controversial ship when it came out for the first time because it is positioned to have a similar role as the Carrick, and it has the potential as well to function as that flagship for a lot of orgs. So the way that people use the Carrick right now as a flagship, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot more people move to the Odyssey, because the Odyssey has a larger hangar than the Carrick. Again, you have less cargo, but a flagship is not really designed for trading and hauling. A flagship just needs to be good at those four, you know, fields to be a great flagship. It just needs to be good at specific things. Again, that's the hangar, that's the med bay. Okay, that's having enough cargo for everybody that's on the ship for their personal storage, and it's also having that vehicle bay. Okay, and the Odyssey is successful at all of those things. Now it also has that ability to refine, to mine and refine quantanium, to extend, you know, how long it can stay out. It also has capital shields, so it has better shields than the Carrick, and the Carrick is no slouch. It is very hard to crack a Carrick. It's going to be even harder to crack Odyssey, okay, because those capital shields, that's going to be no joke. Okay, it also has, you know, VTOL engines, and it doesn't have a dedicated captain's quarters, but it has specific rooms for each of the crew. Instead of being on a bunk bed, you have your own room. It is really designed to stay out for a long time. Okay, now functionally, there's nothing wrong with bunk beds. You can get in a bunk bed, log off, and your org is done for the night. But having those dedicated rooms allows you a little bit more versatility in equipping your character for, you know, role play reasons. I think having the versatility, having those dedicated crew rooms, again, you know, everybody wants to, not everybody could be the captain, essentially. And when you are trying to lead other players, when you are, you know, you have to be the captain of the ship and convince other people, okay, you're the gunner, you're the engineer, you're the navigator, and all these other positions. It is nice to be able to offer them something more than money, some kind of creature comfort that kind of says that you're on an equal playing field. Members of an org, it really depends on your org structure. Now, if your org is structured in a more militarized way, yes, you have that order of command, and it's a little bit different the way that it works functionally than if you are, you know, explorers, or if you you want a flagship that's not a military flagship. You want to be able to offer the other players in your org kind of that equal playing field, a little bit more of those creature comforts, a reason to stay on this ship with you for a long time. And again, the Odyssey is designed to kind of be out on its own for a long time. It makes a lot of sense to have dedicated rooms for all the crew. Okay, and then we move on to the Polaris. Now, the Polaris is in active development right now, and a lot of people are excited for this ship because it has a lot of the features that make a great flagship. Okay, it has that large hangar that can fit a medium-sized fighter, and you know, who knows how many snub fighters in there. It has a lot of cargo. It has more cargo than the Odyssey. Okay, it has that vehicle bay. It has a ramp on the side that you could drive vehicles in on. Now, I'm not sure the largest vehicle that can fit inside of a Polaris, but I wouldn't be surprised if you could potentially fit a tank in here. It has a captain's quarters and a bunk room. Now, this is again a more militarized ship. So instead of having those dedicated crew rooms, you kind of have a bunk situation. It has a med bay, okay? And it also has a brig. So if you capture any players, or if you want to do any type of interrogation, I don't know entirely what that gameplay is going to look like. To have a brig on a ship, or a prison on a ship, you know, maybe it's designed for you to capture NPCs, or maybe you capture players, members from another org, and you hold them ransom. You basically, capture another player alive. You put them in the brig. You say, hey, we have your leader, pay us, and we'll release him. I don't entirely know what that gameplay is going to look like, but I'm very interested in hearing what Seiji has to say about the prison cells on the Polaris, because the Polaris is right around the corner, and of course we haven't heard too much about the new bounty hunting. The new bounty hunting features, they're not slated to come in 3.23. Seiji hasn't said anything about bounty hunting V1 or V2. I'm not sure what it is, but they haven't said anything about the updated bounty hunting in 3.23. So I would not be surprised if it's not coming with this ship, but I do want to hear what Seiji's plans are for it. Now, the Polaris has a lot of guns. It has torpedoes, okay? And it has capital shields. So just like the Odyssey, this is going to be a hard ship to crack, okay? I'm very excited about the Polaris. I think it's going to make a very exciting flagship. It's going to come out before the Odyssey. No word on when the Odyssey is going to drop. So more than likely, the Polaris is going to be the flagship that most orgs lean towards over the Carrick. So right now, many people choose the Carrick as their flagship. They'll probably move over to the Polaris when it comes online. Okay, then I have the Endeavor Hope on here because, like we talked about in previous videos, it has the hangars on it. It has the medical. It has internal cargo capacity in the command module here. So you have cargo and vehicle storage separate from your hangars and your medical. Now, I don't really know a whole lot about the internal crew complement, but as you can see here, this ship is really going to get scaled up a lot. You look at the 890 jump here. This is the 890 jump cockpit up here, and there are 3 seats in the 890 jump cockpit. So you look at the size of the 890 jump, the cockpit area, and the size of the Endeavor Hope's cockpit. It's at a completely different scale. And if you look at the hangar module is supposed to be able to fit 2 size medium ships in it. So we really don't know how big the Endeavor is going to be when it comes out. This is a ship that I'm keeping my eyes on, honestly, because it's going to be a monster in this game. Capital shields, capital everything. It's going to be on the same scale as like a Hull E or something like that, in my opinion. Then we have the 890 jump. This is available in game right now. This is the luxury touring ship, but for I feel like for leisure gameplay, this is going to be that leisure flagship. So for people who have a tourism org, there have been tours in Star Citizen, where you can go on and you can tour around the verse in luxury, in style. Players spend in-game money to buy tickets, and they stay in the rooms on the ship. You can use the hangar to fly down and explore different destinations. Of course, it has that garage and cargo area, so everybody can store their gear on the ship while they're doing that. But it has a ton of creature comforts. So in terms of your cruise org, maybe you have an org that is focused on news. You have an org that is focused on entertainment, an org that is potentially focused on roleplay. Okay, so right now roleplay isn't that big in Star Citizen. Again, those orgs aren't that big, but as more immersive features come online, I feel like the roleplay community is really going to come alive, and this is going to be the ship that really takes advantage of a lot of the tech that's coming to the game. And then we have the Merchantman. Now, the Merchantman is one of those ships that a lot of people are excited about. A ship that, a lot of people were disappointed. CIG says they were working on it and it was getting very far along in production. And then disaster struck. The team that was working on the ship left the company, and now the ship right now is in limbo. For a lot of people, this ship is bittersweet because they've been waiting for it for a long time. It is still happening, and I think CIG is learning a lot about the alien design and what they want to do with this ship. We saw a lot of really cool stuff with the Sulin from last year. That ship has a ton of really cool animations, and the way it works is just so different than anything else, any other ship in the game. And I feel like they're gonna the teaching that team to be creative and do those types of things that they really can't do anywhere else in the conventional ships that they can do in the alien ships. And the next ship that I think is really gonna come out before this ship that allows that team the ability to kind of make more alien ships is the Raylin. Okay, we know that the Raylin is in active production as well. There was some hints to it during CitizenCon, during the Squadron 42 showcase. The characters in the game talked about, coming across a Jean ship, and we saw glimpses of an alien ship that look a bit like it. So we have the Sulin. I believe the Raylin's coming next, and then the Banu Merchantman. But the Banu Merchantman is one of those ships that is a excellent flagship. Okay, it has VIP rooms. It has a crew sleeping quarters. It has a hangar. It has a ton of cargo space. Okay, tons of cargo aboard. You can also park a vehicle in there. Okay, it has an internal marketplace. So this is going to be a great flagship for traders. Okay, if you run a trading organization, this is an excellent flagship because you can buy and sell goods, and you can sell to other players on your ship. So maybe you haul bulk cargo, but then you have those rare items that you've come across that you want to trade, and you have a specific clientele that you want to sell this stuff to, and you have this marketplace, this showroom that you can show other players. It also has medical on the inside. So this ship has everything. I mean, it even has a boardroom, so you can sit down and have those important meetings, kind of like the 890 Jump. The 890 Jump has that kind of dining room, boardroom. A lot of orgs use that to sit down and plan different things. The Merchantman has the same type of situation, and that room overlooks all of your cargo, so you can see everything that you have available to trade. The Merchantman also has a lot of guns. Okay, the Merchantman is no slouch in the weapons department. Also has capital shields, just like the 890 Jump, the Endeavor, the Polaris, and the Odyssey. So the Merchantman is going to be another hard nut to crack. I see a lot of orgs are going to be excited about the Merchantman when it comes out in the game. Okay, and then we have the ship of the hour. Okay, the Idris. Now, with this Idris event, we are finally able to see the interior, walk around it, do that mission, do that dynamic event. This ship is designed to be a fleet carrier, so it doesn't just have a hangar. It has a huge space that can fit 3 medium fighters. Okay, but of course, players are going to test that out and see how much it actually can fit in there. If you have snub fighters like the Fury, you could potentially fit dozens on there. So that's really exciting for org, for military reasons. But of course, it also has cargo and vehicle storage. I believe the back door opens to become a ramp. I've seen it in some photos. I don't know if it's going to ship like that. But of course, it also has a med bay. It also has a brig. It has bunk beds. It has a captain's quarters. It has that huge, bridge at the top here. Scanners, that large rail gun. It has a lot of turrets on board. Okay, it has a separate hangar for an MPUV. So you have that cargo carrier ship, you have the cargo, you have the vehicle storage, you have the large central hangar. I mean, you have it all with the Idris M. The Idris M is going to be a ton of orgs flagship. And, we've seen other players who have stolen Idrises from different missions, flying them around in the verse, and, other players showing up to, try to shoot it and destroy it. And it's going to be a very, powerful ship. And now a lot of people are worried about a ship like this being overpowered, and but again, it's going to be one of those ships that's going to take a lot to man. And as an org, this is going to be vital to you. This is going to be your base of operations. I know base building is happening, but for a lot of orgs, being mobile is kind of key. So there's a difference, there's a trade-off there. Some orgs are definitely going to want to have bases on the planets, bases on grounds. I know a lot of people are excited about this potential of maybe player ownable distribution centers and whatnot. But I feel like some orgs are definitely going to want to have mobile bases. Okay, so they can take their fleet to different planets and do different missions and be more, be able to react to situations a little bit quicker than just having a base. Now, a base would be great for org storage. Of course, this is going to be a location that, excavates resources. This is going to be a location where you're going to store your gear as an org. This is going to be a location where you plan and do different things, but you definitely want to be mobile. You still want to have a flagship that you can do a lot more missions from. You can go a lot of different places. So you don't just want to have a base on the ground. You're definitely going to want to have a base in space and in the sky where you can be mobile, and you can actually, defend your base or attack another player's base from. And that's where flagships really shine, especially ships like the Idris. Then we have the Kraken. The Kraken is another fleet carrier style flagship. Okay, you don't just have a hangar, you have landing pads. Okay, you can fit a lot of ships on the Kraken. Okay, I believe the Kraken will have medical when it comes out. It has a lot of cargo. You can store vehicles on it. I'm not entirely sure if there are ramps or elevators to get the vehicles on, but we do know that this can land planet side. We've seen photographs of the Kraken landed on planets, and it has a variant of the Kraken that also has a marketplace like the Banu Merchantman. So this is a good flagship for not just military, but also trade with that marketplace variant of the Kraken. Okay, it is heavily gunned. Again, capital shields, a lot of rooms and different amenities inside. The Kraken has long been lusted over by the community. This is the ship that, you think about when you think of Star Citizen. You think of the Javelin, you think of the Bengal, you think of the Idris, you think of the Kraken. Okay, so and of course, on a lesser extent, a lot of people also think of the Freelancer and the Cutlass, but the Kraken is really that ship that is going to shine for a lot of orgs. And then last but not least, we have the crown jewel. Okay, this is the largest ship in the game that is player ownable. This is the Javelin. Okay, it has this large hangar on the side here. This hangar, I believe, it's designed to fit a medium-sized ship. So that's why I say, the Endeavor is going to be a lot larger than this, that, where we see it there, because its hangar can fit two medium-sized ships, you know. So all these other ships, medium fighters are different size than a medium ship. So a medium fighter uses a small hangar. So essentially, the 890 Jump has a small hangar. The Polaris has a small hangar. The Carrick and the artist the Carrick and the Galaxy, sorry, has an extra small hangar. Okay, so for the Javelin to have one medium hangar, and the Endeavor to have two, the Endeavor is gonna be, it's gonna be big. Okay, let's just say that. But again, we don't know where the Endeavor is going to land size wise. This is just speculation for my part, so take that with a grain of salt. But the Javelin is coming in with a medium hangar, so that means you're going to be able to fit those larger fighters on there. I don't know exactly what you can be able to fit on here, but you just look at the size of the Javelin's hangar, and this hangar here, and you compare it to something like the 890 Jump. This hangar is like half the size of an 890 Jump, so it's a big hangar. You have a lot of big guns on the Javelin. Javelin also has the largest size torpedoes in the game. So we know that the Polaris is a torpedo build. The Javelin has even larger torpedoes. So the guns and the weaponry on this ship are insane. Okay, you have a large turret here. You have a large turret there. You have these turrets on the side here. Again, your torpedo base. This is the bridge. And you look at the bridge of the Idris. I'm just going to put them side by side. This is the bridge of the Idris. This is the bridge of the Javelin, even bigger, So everything with the Javelin is, supersized. You look at the engines, these engine pods are bigger than most ships in the game. The size of these engine pods are crazy. So you have all of those creature comforts. The thing with the Javelin is, I've never really seen it landed on a planet. I don't know what the landing gear looks like. I don't know if you are even going to be able to land it on a planet. Now, we know that the larger hull series ships can land on planets when they're folded up. But the Javelin is such a large ship that, again, maybe this is just my ignorance. Let me know in the comments down below if the Javelin can land on planets. We know that, larger ships like the Orion can't. So these super large ships are going to be, specific for space. So this is a ship that can fly in the atmosphere of a planet. You may go down into the atmosphere of a planet from time to time, but this is basically like a space station. This isn't really even like, a typical flagship. This is like a space station. And, the Bengal even more so. But of course, the Bengal is not player ownable. So I think for the most part, the Javelin does kind of miss out on that, that potential ground combat, because it is such a large ship. It's to the point where it's such a large ship that it is actually kind of difficult to engage in that ground combat. But in terms of space, I know a lot of players are excited about using the Javelin as their AUEC ship. It's a large ship. It has a lot of rooms, it has a lot of space. It has that briefing room. So, you can address all of the crew on the ship with the holo table. This ship is, end game. This is the goals of a lot of larger orgs, to be able to have a ship like this. I know a lot of people are excited about it coming out. It's coming out after Squadron 42, or when Squadron 42 comes out. So it's not that far away. And like I said, we've seen the interior of this ship during, Fleet Week, during the Javelin tour. They have like a whole sequence going on where NPCs kind of tell you a little bit about the ship, and you can walk around the ship and see the inside of it. And a lot of people have been excited about this ship coming out ever since. So yeah, those are the ships that I think, are going to make great flagships when they come out. I think, obviously this game is still in development. A lot of ships on this list are not in the game yet, but in terms of organizations, Star Citizen is a multiplayer game, and playing with your friends, playing with an org, grouping up with people, it's gonna be a big part of the game in the future. And of course, a lot of those tools aren't in the game yet, but once they do come online, you're gonna see a lot more of that activity going on. Fleet battles between different orgs utilizing these larger ships. And I am excited to see that. I do, there is concerns with, the way resource management is changing, the way ships are being rebalanced with combat. These ships are going to be very effective. A lot of people are testing out the Hammerhead master modes, and that ship is pretty deadly. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this video, about these ships. Are you excited about these flagships? Are you excited about fleet battles? I want to thank you guys for, watching the videos, commenting, liking the videos. It really means a lot to me. I do this channel because I enjoy talking to you guys. I'm always in the comments, so please do not feel like a stranger. Let me know what you think about all this stuff. I love hearing from you guys. But that's going to be it from me here in this video. Like I always say at the end of these videos, you guys like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Salute.